Welcome back to CIA Declassified. Today, we peel back the layers of the most personal tool in the spy's arsenal, their own skin. The setting is the late 1970s. The streets of Moscow are crawling with KGB surveillance. What's new? And every American face is a target. The agency struggled with a fundamental problem. Makeup took hours and melted under streetlights. But in this era of the Cold War, a breakthrough in materials science changed everything. They didn't just want to disguise. They wanted a second soul. This was the birth of the artificial face. The agency didn't just turn to spies for this. They turned to Hollywood. The Office of Technical Services, led by Jonah Mendez, collaborated with top-tier special effects artists to develop high-fidelity masks. These weren't the stiff rubber mask of a costume shop. They were thin, breathable, and mimicked human muscle movement. A quote from Jonah Mendez, former CIA chief of disguise. "We want a mask you could put on in the back of a car in 5 seconds. It had to be so convincing that you could sit across the table from someone in broad daylight and they would never suspect a thing." End quote. The JOTAVIS materials were a proprietary blend of medical-grade silicone and specialized latex that could hold pigment better than human skin. A quote from a declassified 1980 technical briefing. "The key is the edge blend. By tapering the material to a microscopic thickness at the neck and eyes, the mask becomes an anatomical extension of the wearer." End quote. One of the most impressive technical feats was the tearaway feature, which allowed an operative to wear a full face mask over their real face and rip it off in a single motion while walking around a corner to disappear from a tail. A quote from Tony Mendez. "Disguise is not just about changing how you look, it's about changing how you move, how you breathe, and how you occupy space. The mask is merely the canvas." End quote. The agency created a specialized oven system within their labs to cure the latex mask at specific temperatures to ensure they wouldn't reflect infrared light used by Soviet night vision equipment. Historical records show that the artificial face program included the use of animated masks, which used internal cables connected to the wearer's jaw to allow for realistic speech and eating. A quote from a 1982 internal CIA evaluation. "The 1980 Moscow trials have proven that the semi-animated mask is indistinguishable from human tissue at a distance of 3 feet under standard fluorescent lighting." End quote. Disguise kits often included weight-shifting inserts, lead weights placed in the shoes or clothing to force the operative to change their walking gait, a key identifier for surveillance teams. The technology was so sensitive that agents were taught to destroy their mask using a special chemical solvent if they were at risk of being captured, leaving behind only a puddle of goo. A quote from an interview with a retired OTS officer. "We had artists who spent weeks painting individual liver spots and broken capillaries onto the latex to ensure that even a close-up look by a border guard wouldn't raise an eyebrow." End quote. By the mid-1980s, the agency developed a 2-stage mask where the top layer could be peeled off to reveal a second disguise underneath, allowing for a double identity swap in one mission. Manifests confirm that the CIA purchased thousands of human hair samples from European wig makers to create the most realistic eyebrows and eyelashes for the mask. Documentation indicates that the artificial face program was so secret that even the agents using them didn't know the chemical composition of the adhesive used to stick the edges to the skin. The program famously utilized a Hollywood front where CIA officers posed as movie producers to purchase high-end makeup supplies without alerting foreign intelligence services to their true needs. But even in the release, some facts and faces remain hidden. For instance, the section titled "The Bone Structure Specs" contains some of the highest concentration of redactions in the entire artificial face archive. Over 1,200 pages of the cranial modification data are completely missing. Why is the agency still hiding how they change the very shape of a skull? Get ready for the theory of the double walk. Speculation suggests the artificial face was used to replace key world leaders with agency actors during the height of the Cold War. This theory claims the redactions hide the bone structure specs from 1982, alleging the agency developed surgical inserts that would permanently alter a person's facial proportions to match a target exactly. What if you've met one? A dark rumor suggests that the mask technology is so good now that you could be married to an agent for 10 years and never know what they truly look like. This theory claims the redactions in the long-term adhesion section hide the existence of a biopolymer, skin that actually grafts to the wearer's face for months at a time. Goodness, I'm getting the hiccups. Some dark whispers suggest the 1,200 redacted pages actually detail a process of face swapping where an operative's face is surgically removed and replaced with a synthetic replica to allow for a lifetime undercover. There is a wild theory that the blacked out dental integration logs show the agency created prosthetic teeth that could change a person's speech patterns to match a specific foreign dignitary. Theorists looking at the blacked out synthetic pore logs argue the agency was testing living masks grown from the target's own DNA to ensure a perfect match under a microscope. Rumor says the identity swap redactions hide evidence that several high-ranking U.S. officials were replaced by dwellers during the 1980s to ensure policy alignment. Gossip suggests the black bars in the psychological disassociation section hide the fact that the agents who wore the artificial mask for too long began to lose their own memories and believed that they were the mask. A fringe theory suggests the artificial face was actually reverse engineered from non-human technology found in 1947, explaining why the material looks so realistic under a microscope. Some believe the media integration redactions mask a program where famous Hollywood actors were replaced by CIA operatives to influence global culture through cinema. Rumor has it that the heat signature calibration section is redacted because the agency found a way to make a masked agent look like a completely different biological entity to thermal cameras. Gossip around the digital facial mapping files suggests the CIA has a database of every human face on Earth and can print a 3D artificial face of anyone in under an hour. Lastly, in the final, most heavily inked section regarding future disguised deployment, some whisper that the agency has already replaced 10% of the world's population with synthetic citizens. Was the artificial face a success? Tactically, it was an unparalleled success. It allowed CIA officers to operate in denied areas like Moscow with a level of freedom previously thought impossible. It effectively neutralized the advantage of Soviet counterintelligence. Strategically, it was a quiet success. While it didn't win the Cold War alone, it provided the visual invisibility required for the most sensitive operations that kept the peace. However, it also created a new paranoia, the realization that you can never truly trust your own eyes. As far as technological and operational breakthroughs go, the skin of a stranger revolutionized the field of disguise, such as anatomical integration, the development of muscle mimicry latex that allows for full facial expression. rapid deployment, the 5-second protocol allowing for disguise changes in uncontrolled environments, material science, breakthroughs in porous silicone that allowed for long-term wear without skin irritation, and psychological profiling, new identity internalization training to help agents inhabit their fake personas completely. The artificial face reminds us that in the world of the agency, the truth is just a mask you haven't taken off yet. As the files reveal, some faces are more real than the ones they were born with. Thanks for listening, and join us next time as we examine Project Argo. In 1979, the agency faced an impossible task, rescuing 6 U.S. diplomats trapped in Tehran. Project Argo was the operation that used a fake sci-fi movie as a Trojan horse. We'll uncover the Studio 6 manifest, the fake production logs, and the moment the agency realized that sometimes the best way to hide a secret is to put it under a spotlight. Join us next time for the Hollywood heist. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.